It is the Hudson Show on RadioU, and I'm joined by a special guest with me today. We're talking to Zach from the band Citizens. Zach, good morning. How are you doing?
Oh, so good. Thanks,
It's
Hudson. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a while. The last time we talked, you were in a cabin, but it was a different cabin. It was which is great that you have multiple cabins. First of all, do you still have multiple cabins, or is this an entirely different cabin altogether?
We still have multiple cabins. We haven't quite gone into the cabin business yet. But
that is awesome. Do you ever like Airbnb them out or anything like that?
The one that we talked in last time, I used to use as my studio, and now my cousin lives there. So yeah, sort of.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Zach. I've never asked this. I've done a lot of interviews, but I can't believe I've never asked any artist this. And that is, as a musician in a band, how often, just for fun, do you listen to your own music?
Okay, I think it's two things. I will for sure listen a lot when we're in the demo writing, recording stage, and then I will not listen again. Like, I won't listen again for a long time after that, unless I just need to rehearse and remember parts or something.
Yeah.
But then every now and then, I'll do a little like nostalgic, like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back, and I'm on a plane. Maybe I'm like, I'm gonna listen to this and hope that nobody does the whole like taps your shoulder, like, what are you listening to?
Yeah, right.
Me. No, but every now and then I'll do that just to see, like, all right, do they still stand up, or is there a song or something? I'm like, whoa, why did we record that song?
Yes.
So I don't have many of those, thankfully. But
that is awesome. Well, I imagine too, like, I wasn't even thinking about this, but when you spend so much time putting in all the work to that, it's probably nostalgic too, to just bring back the memories of not necessarily the music itself, but the process of creating it is probably fun to do too.
It's so fun. Yeah. Cause I mean, like, you remember each record and the good things, but also just all the doubt that you had going into it of like,
right.
Gosh, are we even making a good record? Should we even be doing this at all? Like, are we wasting our time and everyone else's? Like, those are very, very, very normal questions that I have asked during every single record. So,
fortunately, after everyone so far, I guess the answer has always been, it's never been a waste of time. Talking about your albums, you've got a new one that I know you guys are working on. And I've noticed right now that it's a huge trend for non-country artists to start making country albums. Beyonce, Post Malone, the list goes on. I'm not going to ask if you guys would do a country album, but if you had to do another genre altogether than what you're used to, do you have one that you think you could excel in?
Oh, that is a great question. Okay, the two thoughts would be either we're not going country, but I think I have thought before about making like a folk sort of Citizens record. I think we could do that pretty well, because we've got Brian in the band who can play fiddle and he can do all that. And then some of the other guys can do some of the other instruments. So I think we could do a cool record that way. Otherwise, maybe it'd be fun to do some sort of like a very, very electro dance kind of thing. That could be a good time. But yeah, we haven't hit the country trend yet. So maybe give us some time. Maybe we will. I don't know.
I'm afraid this is a very fleeting trend. And by the time you guys, if you haven't even started, by the time you got around to it,
it'll be too late.
Yep, exactly. So no, just stick with what you guys, with what you know. I was thinking too, that when it comes to the albums you put out, they always seem to have kind of a central theme, and you're working on the new album now. Does it have a theme? And if so, what is it?
Yep, it does. I mean, I think the biggest part for me has just been, I think that we've had this is our 7th record now, I think, that we're working on. I think it's 6th or 7th. And for me, I just think, all right, as you get older and you're getting to do this thing, all these different sounds and ideas and things you're believing, all these things kind of come together, and each record is like a synopsis of that period of time in your life. And I feel like this one, to me, kind of feels like a way of like gathering a lot of those different records together into one, as sort of like this museum that you can go through, and you can go to different halls and wings and parts of the exhibit where you know, in this case, you listen to a song, you're like, oh, this is really cool. And then you go over to this side of the museum and it feels totally different, you know?
Yeah.
And part of that was just because I just felt like I just want to make a record where it's all for all of us, really, where it was really focused on, okay, just like trusting our gut. Here was the initial idea. This, obviously, we thought this was cool. Let's just follow that until we're just like, this is really dumb. And so far, we have like 40 songs, and
Oh my
we have a
gosh.
lot. We have a lot of work, you know, a lot of things to choose from. And that's just because, like, I think over the years, as you write more and more, you get to the point where, like, after 5 minutes on something, you pretty much know, yeah, I think I can see this going somewhere, or you just move on from it. So
Yeah.
I've been just trying to just chase down every idea that feels great.
I'm curious. You mentioned you're having like 40 songs. Obviously, the album's not going to be that long. What happens to the songs that don't make the cut? Like, does it depend how far they go, I guess? What eventually winds up happening to them? Or is there a bunch of recordings that could one day see the light of day, even though it wouldn't be in the traditional album sense?
Right. I mean, I do think there's sort of like the logic right now that's like, oh yeah, just share everything, which
Right.
I kind I kind of get that because streaming you can do that. But I don't know, like we have songs even on our last record that we sat on for almost 6 years, you know, before they made it to onto a record. So my guess is these songs, the ones that after like a few years from now of the other, I don't know, 30 something that don't get recorded,
Yeah.
it'll be obvious like a couple years from now if it's like, all right, we need to release a bunch of these, or there's a few of these that just they need their moment.
Yeah.
So
So the new album, I didn't know if this was right. Is it called Museum?
we're not sure yet. We're still we're still figuring it out, but that is what we are affectionately calling it. And I think that's probably where we'll land, but I don't know. I mean, that's part of the nature of like living in this like social media kind of world, is like you do have an opportunity to let people in on the process. And Museum is sort of like another example of like, oh, this was just like a gut moment. What are all these songs? Oh, this is a museum
Mm-hmm.
of in reflections of who we are, and hopefully reflections of those who will listen to it.
I like it. So on the website, at least, and talking about the new music, it's all under the Museum tab. And I know too that with making the new album, you've kind of had, like, I just really want you to explain it, how you guys are crowdfunding the next record that you're making.
Yeah. So the idea came about. Um, I was actually in the art museum here in Nashville, and I was just kind of walking around, and I like to go there as often, you know, maybe once every month or two, and just kind of walking around, and I can't let go of this thought that's like, you go to a museum and you're not really thinking about like, can I buy that? You're not thinking about it
Right.
as a product. You're just thinking about it as a piece of art that you're there to observe, and you either love it or you hate it, or you have questions, whatever it is, or you just indifferent and you move on to the next. Like,
Right.
and just felt like, all right, we I have always kind of struggled a little bit with like the Patreon model, because I don't want to necessarily, we're creating all the time, but I don't want creation to turn into also like, all right, we need to constantly make these products.
Right.
And so we're like, well, let's make our own museum where fans crowdfund it, and that helps to allow us to keep making music. And you pay a membership fee, and it's whether you want to give, you know, one amount or a lot more, like it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're doing that because you're just like, hey, we really want to support this because we believe in the music and we believe in the art, and we want other people to hear that and experience it too. So like in museum, though, it's a different experience. It's like voice memos. It's the original idea of me talking about like, okay, I think this song could be this, and then the next piece is an actual demo of that song. So it really is an exploration of our creative process, but also an opportunity for fans to support us and do it in a way that I don't know, it feels like kind of like on our terms rather than, hey, we've done the crowdfund stuff before where it's like you raise this money and it's awesome, but then you spend sometimes even more time making t-shirts and little stickers and all this kind of stuff. It's cool, but it takes away a bit, I think, from really why people are coming there, which I just think like sometimes as artists we devalue things because we try and turn them into a product. And we just got to remember, like, not everybody is going to want to support this, but there are people that believe in what we do, and getting our music is enough for them. And so we should give them an opportunity to become members in this and just see what happens. And so far it's been really surprising and super encouraging and cool.
Yeah, I love that. When I saw that on your website, I thought that was such a cool way to go about it, and just how you all phrased it and everything. I really appreciated it. So looking forward to the new music. And in the meantime, this is not a question or anything. I'm just telling you that Everything and More has been a song that's been huge to me. So that's going to keep being huge until you put out more new music. And then hopefully there'll be more, something else that'll take it over. I have one more question for you. And that is, I like to ask this to a lot of different artists. What is on your musical or creative bucket list that you haven't gotten to accomplish yet?
Oh, I really, really want to start another band. Not to replace Citizens.
Yeah.
But I've always really wanted to do like a full-on rock record, and I may or may not be getting closer to that happening.
Hey.
And then I've always, and then I've always really wanted to make a record. So my dad died when I was young, and I've always wanted to make a record about that story of being a kid and growing up, and then, with your dad, and all of a sudden not, and then the life that you live past all that. So I'm kind of working on those things loosely and trying to let 2025 be the year that a lot of things come out. So fingers crossed that's what happens.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad I asked, because I was not expecting that. So that's really cool. I hope all that works out. Zach, it's been good to talk to you. I should mention the whole reason that we wound up doing this now is because you're about to head out on tour. And for RadioU Ohio specifically, you guys are stopping in Columbus, and we are actually, at least as of the time people are hearing this, doing Citizens Ticket Week. You can text the word WIN to 8772 RadioU for your chance to get free tickets to see Citizens. But even if you don't, Citizens heading out on tour, and it's always a lot of fun to see Citizens live. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would love to see anybody and everybody there. We're pumped. We love playing Columbus. It's a sweet place, and thank you guys for supporting it.
While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.